Welcome to Stoic Wisdom. In this video, I'm going to break down 3 forbidden compliments. Compliments that, when used properly, will make any woman feel an emotional rush she cannot ignore. These aren't about shallow flattery. These are about creating psychological tension, attraction, and intrigue. So, let's begin with the first forbidden compliment. Forbidden compliment number 1. There's something about you that I can't quite figure out. At first, this might sound simple, but trust me, this isn't just a compliment. This is psychological warfare in the game of attraction. Because what you're really doing is planting mystery right at the center of your interaction. Here's why it works. Most men use compliments that are easy to process. She hears, "You're gorgeous. You have a great smile. You're really fun to be around." She knows exactly what those mean. They're pleasant, but they're predictable. She doesn't have to think twice about them, so they carry no lasting weight. But when you say, "There's something about you that I can't quite figure out," you're creating an open loop in her mind. You're making her question, "What is it about me that he sees? What makes me stand out? Why can't he put his finger on it?" See, you're not telling her what makes her special. You're making her prove it to herself. And that's the genius of this line. Because attraction isn't about handing out easy validation. If it were, every guy who called a woman beautiful would have her hooked. But that's not how it works. Instead, women chase after the people who make them feel something deeper. People who spark curiosity. People who challenge them. People who see them in a way no one else does. This compliment works because it does 3 powerful things. It makes her feel unique. She's not just another pretty face in a sea of compliments. She's someone mysterious, someone intriguing, someone different. It creates tension. You're showing interest, but not in a predictable way. You're keeping her guessing. And guess what? Curiosity fuels attraction. It engages her emotions. She'll start thinking, analyzing, and wondering what you see in her. And the more she thinks about it, the more invested she becomes in you. The way you deliver this is crucial. If you just throw it out flatly, it won't land. The key is to act like you're genuinely reflecting. Imagine you're mid-conversation, she says, or does something that surprises you. You pause, you tilt your head slightly, you give her a thoughtful look, and then you let the words slip out naturally. "You know, there's something about you I just can't quite figure out." Notice how subtle that is. You're not declaring it, you're discovering it. And here's the real trick. Don't explain it. Don't rush in with an answer. The power of this compliment lies in the unknown. The more she tries to decode it, the more she's replaying your words in her head, even hours later. Because here's the truth. Most compliments close the conversation. You say, "You have beautiful eyes," she says. "Thanks." And that's it. Done. End of interaction. But this compliment, this one opens a loop. It lingers. It grows. It forces her mind to circle back to you over and over. And when she's thinking about you even when you're not around, that's when attraction transforms into obsession. That's the power of mystery. That's the power of making a woman feel seen, but not completely understood. Because the second she feels like she's figured you out, the game is over. So use this wisely. Because once you drop this line, she'll never see you the same way again. Forbidden compliment number 2. I feel like there's a side of you that most people never get to see. This isn't just a compliment. It's a key that unlocks a woman's mind and taps into one of her deepest desires, the desire to be understood on a level beyond what the world usually sees. Think about it. Most women, especially attractive women, spend their entire lives being judged by the surface. People notice their looks, their clothes, their social presence. Some notice their charm, their sense of humor, maybe even their intelligence. But very few people look beyond the mask, beyond the polished image, beyond what's obvious. And here's the truth. Every single woman has a hidden side. The part of her that she doesn't post on Instagram. The part of her that her co-workers will never know. The part of her that even some of her friends don't get to see. And whether she admits it or not, she longs for someone to recognize that hidden side, to sense that there's more to her than meets the eye. That's why this forbidden compliment is so powerful. When you look at her and say, "I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see," you're telling her three things all at once. You see past the mask. You're not distracted by the surface-level version of her that everyone else notices. You're acknowledging that there's depth behind her smile, behind her charm, behind her beauty. You're not like other men. Most men only comment on what's obvious: her looks, her laugh, her energy. But you're noticing something beyond that, something intangible, something hidden, that immediately separates you from the crowd. You invite her to reveal herself. Once you suggest that she has a hidden side, her subconscious begins to prove you right. She'll start opening up more, telling you things she doesn't normally share, because deep down, she wants you to see her fully. This compliment works almost like a gentle challenge. You're not outright asking her to show you more, but you're implying that you already sense it. That quiet confidence pulls her in, because you're giving her a space to be vulnerable without directly demanding it. Why this compliment works so well. Let's break it down with some psychology. Human beings, men and women alike, are wired with what psychologists call the need for uniqueness. We all want to believe that there is something about us that cannot be copied, cannot be imitated, cannot be replaced. The problem is, most people never feel truly recognized for that uniqueness. For women, this is amplified. Society tends to reduce women into categories. She's the pretty one. She's the funny one. She's the shy one. But no one fits neatly into just one label. Everyone has contradictions. Everyone has a deeper self that rarely gets the chance to come out. So when you tell her, "I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see," you're acknowledging her contradictions. You're giving her permission to be more than just her labels. You're saying, "I know there's more to you than what you show the world, and I see it, even if you don't say it." And that creates an immediate emotional bond, because now, in her mind, you're not just another guy interested in her looks. You're the guy who gets it. You're the guy who might finally see all of her. How to use it in conversation. Now, delivery is everything here. If you just drop this line without context, it might sound rehearsed. But when you time it right, it lands like lightning. Imagine you're having a conversation, and she says something that reveals a bit of her personality, something not everyone would know. Maybe she shares an unusual hobby. Maybe she shows a quirky side. Maybe she gives a thoughtful answer to a question that most people would laugh off. That's your moment. You look at her, pause just long enough for her to feel the weight of your attention, and then you say it softly. "You know, I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see." Notice the effect. She'll almost always react with curiosity. Her eyebrows may raise, she may smile shyly, or she may even challenge you. "Oh yeah? What makes you say that?" And here's the secret. Don't over-explain. You don't need to give a long answer. In fact, the less you say, the better. Something as simple as, "I don't know, I just get the sense there's more to you than you let on," is enough. Why? Because the moment you leave it open, she starts filling in the blanks herself. She'll begin wanting to prove you right. She'll start showing you pieces of herself that others never get to see. And the more she reveals, the stronger her emotional bond with you becomes. The psychological impact. This compliment does something subtle, but extremely powerful. It shifts the dynamic. Most of the time, men try to impress women. They tell jokes, they flex their achievements, they flatter endlessly. But this compliment flips the script. Instead of you trying to win her over, you're making her feel like she has to prove something to you. By suggesting she has a hidden side, you position yourself as the one who sees deeper. You become the rare person who notices the layers beneath her surface. That positions you as someone valuable, someone she doesn't want to lose. In psychology, this is known as the investment principle. The more someone invests, time, effort, emotions, the more attached they become. By getting her to reveal her hidden side, you're making her invest in you emotionally. An emotional investment is the root of attraction that lasts. Example: scenarios. Let me paint a few scenarios so you can really see how this plays out. Scenario 1. The unexpected hobby. She casually mentions that she paints, but doesn't show her art to anyone. You pause, look at her, and say, "I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see." Suddenly, she feels understood. You didn't just hear that she paints. You recognize that she's got a whole inner world she keeps hidden. Scenario 2. The quiet observation. You notice that when she's around a group of friends, she plays the fun, bubbly role. But later, in a quiet moment, she makes a thoughtful comment. You lean in and softly say, "You know, I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see." Now she feels exposed, but in a good way. She feels seen, and she'll likely share more of that side with you. Scenario 3. The subtle energy shift. She laughs at something small and genuine, not her usual public laugh, but the kind of laugh that feels unguarded. You smile and say, "That right there, I bet not many people ever get to see that side of you." Boom. Instant intimacy. You've taken a small moment and turned it into a connection. Why you must use this carefully now. A word of caution. This compliment is powerful because it touches something vulnerable. Women don't show their hidden sides to just anyone. If you use this line casually, or worse, manipulatively, it will feel fake and forced. But if you use it sincerely, if you truly mean it, when you sense there's more to her, then it becomes unforgettable. She will remember you as the man who looked past the surface and noticed the real her. And once she associates you with that feeling of being seen, of being recognized in a way no one else has managed before, you become magnetic. This isn't about flattery. This is about recognition. And recognition is infinitely more powerful than praise. Forbidden compliment number 3. You make me feel different, like I can't be the same around you as I am with anyone else. Now this one is dangerous, in the best way. It's not just a compliment, it's a confession. And when you deliver it with the right energy, it has the power to flip her world upside down. Why? Because unlike the first 2 compliments, this one isn't directly about her, it's about you. But make no mistake, it hits her just as hard. Let me explain why this compliment is so powerful. When you tell a woman, "You make me feel different," you're saying something most men never dare to admit, that she has an effect on you. And not just any effect, it's unique, personal, and rare. Here's the psychology behind it. Most men try to control the frame in an interaction. They want to seem unaffected, cool, detached, as if nothing shakes them. But when you admit that she changes you, even subtly, you're signaling vulnerability. Not weakness, but vulnerability. And that vulnerability is intoxicating because it tells her she matters. Think about it. Women hear compliments about their looks constantly. But how often do they hear that they can shift someone's state of being? Almost never. And that's exactly why this forbidden compliment hits so deep. You're not just telling her she's attractive. You're telling her she changes you on a fundamental level, that she awakens a different version of you, a version that doesn't exist with anyone else. The psychological trigger. This taps into what psychologists call the impact principle. The impact principle is simple. People feel closer to those who make them feel like they matter, like their presence changes things. When you say, "You make me feel different," you're showing her that she doesn't just exist in your world, she shapes it. That makes her feel important, influential, and unforgettable. And let's be clear, this is not the same as saying, "I'm obsessed with you." That would sound needy and desperate. Instead, you're framing it as something beyond your control. There's something about you that changes me when you're around. That subtle shift makes all the difference. How to deliver it? Timing is everything with this one. You don't just walk up to a woman and blurt it out. You wait for the right moment. Usually when you're already sharing a connection. Maybe you're talking, and the conversation flows so easily you lose track of time. Maybe you notice yourself laughing in a way you don't normally laugh. Maybe you feel unusually calm, or unusually excited, or unusually curious when you're around her. That's your cue. You lean in slightly, lower your voice just a little, and say it like a realization. "You know what's strange? You make me feel different. I'm not like this with anyone else." Notice the phrasing. It's not dramatic. It's not exaggerated. It's quiet, almost like you didn't mean to say it out loud. That's what makes it real. Her reaction. When a woman hears this, she doesn't just take it as a compliment. She takes it as evidence of connection. Think about it. If you told her she's beautiful, she might smile politely. If you told her she's interesting, she might say, "Thank you." But if you told her she changes the way you feel, suddenly she's invested. She starts thinking, "What is it about me that makes him feel different? Why does he react to me this way and not to others? What's happening between us that's so unique?" And just like that, you've planted the seed of exclusivity. You've set yourself apart from every other man she's ever met. Because now, in her mind, you're not just someone she likes. You're someone who has a personal, emotional response to her presence. And people don't forget that. Example scenarios. Scenario 1. The unexpected calm. You're sitting with her, and the conversation slows down. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, you feel strangely comfortable. You smile, shake your head lightly, and say, "You make me feel different. Normally, I hate quiet moments, but with you, it feels good." Scenario 2. The playful energy. You catch yourself teasing her, laughing harder than usual. You pause, grin, and say, "I don't know what it is." You bring out this playful side of me I don't usually show. Scenario 3. The honest confession. She asks you something personal, and you find yourself opening up more than you expected. You give her a thoughtful look and say, "That's weird. I usually don't share this stuff. You make me feel different." Each of these examples works because it ties the compliment to a real experience. It's not a random line. It's grounded in the moment. And that's what makes it irresistible. The Stoic angle now. Let's tie this back to Stoic wisdom, because this isn't just about romance, it's about life. The Stoics taught us that true strength is not about building walls, but about knowing when to let them down. Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." In other words, most men live guarded, terrified of showing vulnerability. But the Stoic understands that controlled vulnerability is not weakness, it's power. When you admit that someone makes you feel different, you're not giving up control. You're showing that you're strong enough to be open, grounded enough to be moved, confident enough to reveal your humanity. That's why this compliment is so powerful. It combines attraction with authenticity. It shows her you're not pretending to be unaffected. You're comfortable admitting that she stirs something in you. And paradoxically, that honesty makes you more magnetic. The conclusion: why forbidden compliments work. So, let's tie it all together. Most men give compliments that are predictable, surface level, and forgettable. "You're beautiful." "I love your smile." "You're fun to be around." Nice. Sure. But they don't last. They don't spark curiosity. They don't open emotional doors. Forbidden compliments are different. They're designed to strike deeper. They're crafted to make her stop, think, and feel something raw. Compliment number 1. "There's something about you I can't quite figure out." This creates mystery, making her chase the answer. Compliment number 2. "I feel like there's a side of you most people never get to see." This creates intimacy, making her want to reveal herself to you. Compliment number 3. "You make me feel different. I can't be the same around you as I am with anyone else." This creates exclusivity, making her believe she has a unique impact on you. Together, these 3 forbidden compliments form a triangle of attraction. Mystery, she can't figure you out. Intimacy, she feels seen by you. Exclusivity, she knows she changes you. And when you combine those 3 forces, you create something far stronger than surface-level attraction. You create obsession. Final Stoic reflection. Now here's the Stoic truth to remember. Compliments, like all words, are tools. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, what you speak and how you think shapes reality. If you use your words carelessly, handing out empty praise, you create weak, shallow connections. But if you use your words with wisdom, with restraint, and with intention, you can spark something unforgettable. That's why these forbidden compliments work. Not because they're tricks, not because they're manipulations, but because they're rare. They force you to go beyond the surface and connect with a woman on a level most men will never reach. And when you do that, when you use words as a Stoic would, with purpose, you don't just make her feel good, you make her feel seen. And being truly seen is one of the most irresistible feelings in the world. So use these compliments wisely, use them authentically, and watch as the women you meet begin to lean in, open up, and crave more of your presence. Because in the end, attraction isn't about saying more. It's about saying what matters